in a minute. All right, we are live. We actually made it. I can't believe it. We had so many troubles making this work, but we're here in my group, Do Face Yoga Daily, and I'm so happy to introduce to you Sally Walker, who is an expert in slow aging methods, nutrition, lifting acupuncture, and also hormones. And welcome, Sally, to this
Thank you
talk
very
today.
much. Thank
Yes.
you.
And first, I'd really love you to tell a little bit about your journey into hormones, because you started off as a physiotherapist and then you moved into acupuncture. But then something happened and you discovered something really important. And
Well,
I'd love you to tell about it. Yeah, thank you.
thanks very much. And it's good we're live. We've had some troubles, but
Yes.
here we are, a little bit late, but better late than never. So I'm English. I lived most of my adult life in Denmark. So I speak fluent Danish as well, but we're doing it in English today. And I'm 64 years of age next month. So I've had a long journey through health in different ways. So as you rightly said, I started my extensive career as a physiotherapist. And about 10 years in, I got involved with acupuncture, with the Chinese philosophy. Chinese philosophy, very interesting. Acupuncture, very amazing, absolutely, for all different reasons and different treatments. But the Chinese philosophy really introduced me to what's going on in the inside of the body. That's where they have their focus. So looking at organs, but getting an introduction to biochemistry. And this made me look into nutrition. So the start of my journey with nutrition, basically, that was thanks to the Chinese philosophy. And nutrition, and it wasn't, oh, we're going to have some veggies and we're going to have a piece of meat or fish. It wasn't that kind of nutrition. It was more minerals, vitamins, other amino acids, fatty acids, etc. But how the body was using these to run its biochemical processes. This was my big passion, my big interest. And working in this way brought me to the world of hormones. And that's where I am today. So for all of you listening, very simply, hormones dictate. They tell your cells what to do. Without messages from hormones, your cells wouldn't know what to do. Every hormone has a specific message. You cannot change the message, but you can affect how much of a particular hormone is working. That is within your power, and it has very much to do with our lifestyle choices, very much to do with the foods we eat, how we sleep, how we rest, how we exercise, etc., etc. And that's what I do today, more than anything else.
Yes, yeah. And that's so interesting because when I took a course with you in lifting acupuncture, but I could see on all the women there at the course that when you started to talk about hormones, we were all just like, I don't know what to call it, mesmerized by how important they were, and it's so invisible. So it's something that you can't really see, and what's going on, and maybe you see some changes to your skin, and I'd love to talk to you about what's going on with the skin, like what hormones control the skin, because when this group Do Face Yoga Daily, and what's the aim of the group is to inspire a youthful appearance. And how is it with hormones and the skin and yeah.
Well, hormones, as I said, dictate. They talk to every cell, so they're going to be talking to your skin cells as well. And as we age, we have to be more particular about the balance in two particular hormones. And the two hormones which will affect your skin more than anything else is cortisol, the one we call the stress hormone, and estrogen, the female hormone. Yeah. And as long as we have a balance in these two hormones, see, cortisol has a breakdown effect. This is one of the messages it comes to your skin cells, and it will tell the collagen, which is the main protein in your skin, it will tell collagen to break down. So you're going to get a weaker type skin. Where estrogen does the opposite. It's got the building message. So it comes along and it talks to your skin cells and says, come on, let's make some more collagen. So until we are about the age of 40, late 30s, 40s, we have a balance in these hormones. We mass produce estrogen in our ovaries, and we, in a way, mass produce cortisol during the day to help us with energy production, blood sugar, etc. But there's a balance. So we will have lots of cortisol production during the day, and we have lots of estrogen during the night and evening and night where we're repairing ourselves, etc. So there's a balance. So we don't see any changes in our skin. And then sort of late 30s, especially if life is very stressful, but from around the late 30s, the ovarian production begins to decline as an estrogen. So we can begin to see the slight changes in our skin. The wrinkles don't disappear as well as they did before. They become more permanent. The smiling lines, etc. The skin doesn't seem to be as stronger, so we start getting the folds around the mouth, etc., etc. So these are signs that cortisol is becoming dominant. We don't have the estrogen to repair as well as we did before. That's basically the two hormones that need to be looked at, controlled, supported, whatever we will do. Yeah.
But yes, I'm like, that's so sad. No,
Yeah,
but
it is sad.
but there are ways to other ways to control this a little bit, and what can we do? Is there any way to balance this out in our daily life a little bit more, or what do we need to keep an eye on?
Well, I think basically, this is going to be not a nice thing for me to say, but basically, our bodies are animal. We still have the biochemistry, the biochemical pathways, the hormone production, etc., of an ape. And basically, what happens is by the time you get to about the age of 50, your purpose in life, which is to reproduce, is finished. And so the animal part of you, your body, will die, basically. Not a nice thing, not a nice thought. And until 100 years ago, and 100 years is not a long time, okay? So some of us might have grandparents that became 90, 100. It's not a long time ago. It was called the Roaring 20s, the 1920s. And the life expectancy for a lady, for a woman, was about 50 years of age. That's 100 years ago.
Wow! Oh
Yeah.
my God!
In the 40s, we'd had increased it already to around the age of 60. And today, the life expectancy of a woman is about 81 years of age. So many of us will live to 90, maybe even to 100. Yeah. So we are living longer, but we've not done this for many years. So no one has the recipe here. Nobody knows exactly what we need to do. So we're all trying different things. But for me, it's crystal clear. We create a major imbalance between the breakdown process, it's called catabolic, and the building process, which is called anabolic, because we lose about 70% of our anabolic hormone, estrogen. So we have this imbalance. It doesn't matter what we're doing because we lose the production in our ovaries. So pro-aging experts are looking into all kinds of ways to support the ovaries, to increase the length of the ovarian production time. And basically, since the 1940s, we've also been replacing or supporting estrogen. And that's one thing we need to look at, absolutely. But we also have to be very, very conscious of the hormone cortisol. It has a daily production, a 24-hour production. You can't do anything about its normal daily production, which will be high levels there between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m., and then low levels between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. But if your need to make energy, so if we consider cortisol as being the energy hormone rather than the stress hormone, one of its most important jobs is to tell your collagen, tell your skin and your bones to break down, to release glucose, so you can lift blood sugar, so all your little cells can make energy, so you can fix whatever it is you need to fix. Yeah, so it's really a fixer hormone, and it is the body's most essential hormone. So you're supposed to mass produce it during the day, but you're not supposed to produce so much during the evening. Yeah. So from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. you can be active, and from 6 p.m. until 6 a.m. you should be more resting. And while you're resting and cortisol is low, your building hormones, estrogen in this case, can be produced and they can do their job. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we lose 70% of the estrogen, which means that you have to be more observant of your cortisol levels after 6 o'clock in the evening if you're going to help this lack of estrogen, if you're going to support your skin. Yeah. And this is very difficult because in the world that we live today, everything starts at 6 o'clock in the evening. Yeah. Between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. we're working, we're earning money, and then from 6 p.m. it's my time, and I'm going to do all these things. I'm going to go to the gym, and I'm going to go out, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I'm still maybe working, etc., etc. And all those things are increasing your need for cortisol. And the more cortisol you produce, the more you break down. And you've got less hormone now to build. So this is a really big important thing. So when I talk with my ladies, my menopausal ladies, about the different hormone imbalances, so having weak skin and wrinkles is one of the symptoms of low estrogen, absolutely. But there's lots of other symptoms around menopausal times, where I'll tell them that yes, we can support estrogen, and I do believe this is a very important thing to do, but we're never going to replace 70%. So you've got to look at that word called stress. You've got to look at your need for cortisol and see if you can bring that down a notch or two so you have less breakdown. It's a balance.
Yeah, and that's so important, and that was something that really, you made this graph on like a piece of paper and showed it. And at the moment when you introduced that to me, I was actually working one-on-one with clients in America, which meant that my day of work would start around 8 o'clock in the evening and go to midnight. So when you did that, I was just like, oh my God, because I'm also living from keeping Youthful. That's also part of my product, if you want to call it that. I can't deprive my own energy and stress myself out, because then I won't be able to do my job and inspire.
Yeah.
So actually, what has happened since then is that now I'm making a boot camp instead, and I've cut back on private clients because I already felt that it was stressing me out, because then at 12 midnight I had difficulties falling to sleep. So I knew it was kind of unsustainable. So that's great knowledge, because I think the skin and our appearance is actually a big motivator when we go like into menopause. Like, we want to take care of ourselves. So knowing that do you have any recommendation for that period when you go from your 40s and through menopause? Like, is there anything that we have to be particularly aware of? Like, of course, cutting back on stress, and
and sleep. You were, as you were saying, so sleep is really, really important, because it is during sleep that you will build and repair. So if you're not getting to bed from around 10 o'clock in the evening, then you're going to be missing out on some of your build and repair time. And as the hormones are decreasing, you have less hormone to do the building repair with. So sleep is very, very important. So just think of it in this way: when you're active, mentally, physically, emotionally, makes no difference. When you're active, cortisol will be working. When you're not active, when you're resting, when you're calm, then estrogen can do its job. Yeah, and we're supposed to have sort of 12 hours of each, in a way. This is what we're really programmed to do. So, as I said, look at that 6 o'clock in the evening. Think about what changes can you make to decrease your activity levels, mentally, emotionally, and physically, and let your anabolic hormones work, or let estrogen work. Because if you're not resting, then it's not going to get a look in.
Yeah. Then we can do a lot of other things, and they won't be working. Or
Absolutely. Yeah. Because, as I said, I started by saying that hormones dictate. We need the nutrients, and we can talk about those in a minute. But if the wrong hormone is working, it doesn't matter about the nutrients.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ouch. Okay.
Yeah. Ouch. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So moving toward like nutrition and also supplementing. A lot of people are talking about collagen supplementing to help the skin. And what do you think about that? Is it
Well,
worth it?
collagen is important, yeah. And collagen is a protein, so the body can make collagen. It has the recipe, and there's lots of different recipes. So there's lots of genes involved here. Every time there's a recipe, there will be genes, and some people are good at making the collagen for the skin. Others are better making the collagen for the bones. Yeah, but there's lots of genes here. But to make the collagen, you're going to need what we call these amino acids. So the amino acids we can get from the protein that we're eating. So if we're eating meat or fish or eggs or even vegetation, the pulses, etc., we were getting a source of amino acids, and the body will then be able to build and make collagen. To make the collagen from the foods that we're eating, vitamin C is going to be essential here. So getting enough protein in your diet and getting enough vitamin C is going to help you make your own collagen. Yeah. You sorry?
Oh,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no, no.
No, it's okay.
I'm listening,
Yeah, listen.
taking notes.
No, but we could also supplement with collagen.
Yeah.
So this has been tested scientifically, and we do see an increase in bone collagen when people take these collagen supplements. So there's a little bit of well, the jury's not really out here yet, but do we need to take collagen as the polypeptide chains or the little chains of peptides? So peptides are amino acids in a sequence, and they're very short peptide chains. They will be absorbed directly into the body, and because they're already in the recipe, if you like, they're in the sequence which will be used to make collagen, the body will use it to make collagen. It won't use it for something else. But when we do eat protein, so we eat collagen as a protein. So collagen, you see, our ancestors used to eat loads and loads and loads of collagen, but we don't like to eat those today. These are all the grisly bits around the joints and the skin of the chicken and all this kind of thing. This is where all the collagen is. We don't need that anymore, but our ancestors would eat loads of it. So eating the collagen, we would break it down in our digestive system, but we would also break it down to the little peptide chains. We wouldn't necessarily break it down, all of it down to the single amino units. We would also have these little peptide chains which will be absorbed. So do you need to buy the collagen, which is in peptide chains, or can you just buy the collagen powders, which are the complete protein? I think both are good enough. I don't necessarily believe that we have to have the peptides. They seem to be much more expensive than just using the collagen powders.
Okay.
But but using a collagen powder or using a supplement, I believe, is a very good thing to do because we're not eating the damn stuff. But you could make soups. So making these broths, they're beginning to come in fashion again. So you put the chicken in some water, bubble it away for about 6 hours, and then the collagen in the joints, etc., all dissolves in the water. So you will drink the collagen in that way. So you could do that. That would be a good thing to do as well. But getting some kind of supplement, protein, collagen, collagen peptides, getting something, I think, is very important as we age, and vitamin C.
Yeah. So together with the vitamin C, and do you see it as something that we can do preventative, like when we move through our 30s into our 40s,
Yeah.
or is it only like when
Yeah,
we
no,
get in
I
40s?
think it's a good idea to do. In general, ladies are not always good enough at getting enough protein, so it could be a protein source. So if you use the collagen powder, which is not the peptides, then some of that will be broken down to the amino units, and this will be used for other things in the body as well. So So getting enough protein in general is very important, and it's roughly 1 gram per kilo body weight. So in general, ladies need something like 15, 20, 25 grams of protein per meal, sort of with 3 meals a day, around there. Yeah, and it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be animal protein, but if you're going to do the plant proteins, what you want to make sure is that all of the essential amino acids are there as well. So you just want to look and maybe take a protein powder once a day or something to make sure you're getting all the essential amino acids.
So do you supplement as well, or how do you keep so youthful? And I remember you talked a little bit about how important it is with the green smoothie, and what do you do daily
To
to
look after
aid?
my skin?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I absolutely do use estrogen. I use a very mild estrogen cream, and I will put it on my face. Basically, I put it around my wrinkles, on my neck, and different areas. But I do, and I use it every day, and I actually use it twice a day. Didn't used to, but I do now because I'm getting older and older. So that I absolutely do every single day, and I believe that is an important thing. What also I do is I will have my green smoothie every morning, and in the green smoothie I'll be using some collagen powder, protein powder, collagen powder, broccoli powders, a little bit of spirulina I take on the side because I don't like it in my green smoothie. But the green smoothie will be spinach, it will be a cucumber, there will be some fruit. I'm using berries because berries, all the colours, the major antioxidants, so I'll use some berries in my smoothie. Avocado, all the lovely fats in the avocado, lemon to spike it up a little bit, and olive oil and water. Basically, that's what I use, and I am very. I make this every single morning. I never miss. I never miss. And I think this is an important thing as well, that you start the day with lots of very, very good nutrients so your body has what it needs, so it doesn't have to break down your tissue, which will be your skin and your bones, etc., to release some of these important nutrients that it needs. So I think starting the day as well as possible is a very important thing to do.
Yeah, I'm curious. We haven't spoken about this earlier, but there's something called intermittent fasting, where you
Yeah.
fast for a long time and then you don't eat until noon, around noon, your first meal, and it's a very trendy and thing to do to lose weight. But is it damaging on other, like for example, skin production? Because it sounds a little bit like you would deprive your body, and if you have to wake up early and be active, then you'll start off on having to break down with cortisol, break down estrogen and collagen in your skin. Or am I
Well,
wrong?
well, the intermittent fasting is a good thing for many things, and even a pro-aging, because when we don't eat a lot of food, we don't have a lot of food we need to metabolize, make energy from, and in the energy producing part of the cells where we actually do make free radicals. So, and this is normal. We make free radicals as we produce energy. So if we have to produce less energy, we have to burn less of these calories coming from fat, glucose, and amino acids, we will make less free radicals. And it's free radicals which break down tissue, and we need more antioxidants, so we don't age as quickly. So there's something to say positive about it. But the biggest focus on intermittent fasting is actually the weight loss. So controlling blood sugars, which is also a good thing to do. Blood sugar increases insulin, and insulin is going to increase fat storing, and all these things. So most focus is on the actual burning fat, weight loss, etc. There's not a lot of focus on, well, is this good for your skin, kind of thing. But I think we'll find that it is more positive than negative for the skin. So doing the intermittent fasting, you maybe first have your first meal at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, maybe lunchtime. Well, just make sure that is so completely full of all the nutrients that your body needs. So get the green smoothie there, for example. So you're making sure there's all the proteins it needs and the fats it needs, etc., etc.
Yeah, I'm glad I asked you, because I almost made my own assumptions about it being very bad for the skin. So thank you for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't, as I said, there's not anyone looking in that way. We can look at, so we'll have all these opinions about, oh, this is good, intermittent fast is good for reversing type 2 diabetes, fat burning, etc. But what does it do for the skin, kind of thing? Yeah, there's nobody's looked at that angle at the moment.
Yeah,
so perhaps we can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Let's do that. So you mentioned just a few minutes ago putting estrogen cream on your face. So for somebody who doesn't know at all what that is or where to get something like that, could you maybe elaborate a little bit about like how do you use that?
Well, first of all, there's not just one estrogen. There are 3 different types of estrogen. The one that you lose with menopause is the estrogen called estradiol. That is a very, very, very potent, very powerful estrogen. This is the one that changes you from the little girl into the puberty monster, or the woman in every way. And you lose about 70% of that production. That is not the hormone I support. It is very, very powerful. I do not believe we necessarily need to support that hormone. We do produce it elsewhere in the body, in our adrenals, for example. So it's not because we don't have that production. But this hormone, when it goes to the liver to be broken down, can be associated with breast cancer, with creating a breast cancer. This one and the other estrogen called estrone, they're both can be connected with an increased risk of breast cancer through the liver detoxification. Anyway, so I don't support that. I support the 3rd estrogen called estriol. And estriol is like a mini E2. It works very much like an E2, but it's very, 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 very mild. So that's what I use. And estriol, in some countries in Europe, most countries in Europe, you can buy the tube of cream called Ovestin, and you can buy this in the chemist without a prescription. Some countries in Europe, for example, UK, you can't. It's still on prescription, but you can then order estriol cream from the internet, from BioVia, for example. They have one, and it's different. I would just put estriol in the search engine and see what comes up. Buy estriol UK, whatever. Yeah. Or go to your doctor and ask for a prescription for it. But many countries don't need to have the prescription, but the UK have decided that they want to have a prescription on it. So when you buy the Ovestin, it will say, it's a little tube of cream, it's not very big, and it will say vaginal. The idea was that one of the menopausal symptoms is that we get dry down below. Oh, by the way, that's also estrogen, isn't it? So estrogen tells the cells to produce hyaluronic acid, which is going to give all the moisture. So as we age, we dry out. We dry out everywhere: the skin, the joints, the nose, ears, eyes, and also in the vagina. So again, estrogen there is a good thing. But this little tube of cream, you can use some of it in your vagina, absolutely, but you can also use it on the face, because it will be absorbed there. Not as powerfully as it's absorbed in the vagina, but it will be absorbed on the face. So don't let anyone tell you it's not going to be absorbed, because it's only to be used in the vagina, because it will be absorbed on the face.
Yeah, don't put anything on your face; it won't be absorbed.
Yeah,
That would
right,
be
yeah.
a bomb for the beauty industry. No.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, so that's what I use, and yeah.
And when would you recommend, like, if anyone want to try that out or start? Is it after menopause, or is it like in that process, or is it when your vagina dries out, or when is it?
Yeah,
What's
I
the
mean
sign?
that's a really good sign, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But it's very difficult with estrogen, because in that 10-year the perimenopausal time, so that 10-year run from around the age of 40 to about the age of 50, estrogen is going to be up and down and all over the place. So it's, I would say, if you're in the perimenopausal time, get guidance from somebody who understands the hormone process, because you might make your symptoms worse. Not the wrinkles, absolutely not, but you might make some of the other menopause symptoms worse. If you're after menopause, so if you haven't had a bleed for minimum 1 year, as in after menopause, not if you've got the Mirena coil up, because then you might not have a period. But if you're done with your cycle, then you can use it. There's no reason not to use it there. So
Okay.
a little bit of guidance if you still got your cycle going on.
Yeah. So that really leads me to something very important, and that is, if someone wants to have your guidance, for example, where do you have a practice? Do you go online to guide women? How can people get in contact with you? Of course, I'll put your website below and all these, but how do you work with people one-on-one?
Well, I work with clients one-on-one here on Lanzarote border. So if you're down, so if you happen to be at Club La Santa, then we can do it one-on-one in that way. But otherwise, I work through the internet. So I will do internet consultations one-on-one. It's very easy to do it in that way, and it works very well. My website is being updated at the moment. I hope the Danish website will be up very, very shortly. I'm in the process of writing little ebooks where there will be a lot of information, self-help kind of thing. And I'm also in the process of starting small Facebook groups where there will be a weekly live session with me, etc. So there will be guidance for menopausal times, or maybe also some of the ladies that are having problems with polycystic ovaries, endometriosis and things like that. So hormone problems in general. So there'll be different things. So just keep an eye on my webpage. You can contact me through my webpage already by email. And I do have a newsletter in English and in Danish. So sign yourself up for that, and then you'll be able to keep contact with me. I also do Facebook Live. I have 30 minutes every other Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Danish time in Danish. And very shortly, I will be doing the other Tuesdays in English. So.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, because we want to know more, I'm sure. Like I am definitely going to keep an eye on your work. And also I saw that you and Tanya Eskildsen and Laura Boni, am I saying that right, is doing an education or training
Absolutely.
together. So just before we end this, I'd really love you to tell a little bit about what you see in the future with the training, and what's that going to be on.
Yeah. So the new education, holistic skin health. What I see is, and I've actually seen for some time, that the beauticians are going to be mini therapists. Until now, much of the work of the beauticians has been from the outside in with creams, etc. But if your biochemistry is not functioning properly, you're never going to have a healthy skin. And we can see so many things. So the Chinese philosophy, a very clever Chinese doctor will look at your face and tell you what's wrong with you, basically, and what you need to fix it. So we will be training beauticians to be more than just cleaning skin and advising about creams, etc., etc. They will be working with the inside. So they'll be looking at hormone balances, they'll be looking at nutrition, etc., etc., and helping their clients in a completely different way. So that's what I see.
Do you also see people having more skin troubles nowadays than, for example, 10 years ago, or is it increasing?
Yeah, I think hormone imbalance is increasing, and this is in many ages. So we're seeing the young girls have a bigger hormone imbalance where testosterone can be out of balance, for example. But we also see more aging skin because we're living longer. You see, we never used to do this. So we're seeing all different kinds of skin-related problems, which are newer because of hormone imbalance, basically. Yeah.
Well, good that we have you to educate us a little bit more about the hormones. It was really, really interesting to take the course at a holistic skin therapy school, and I'm sure that we're going to talk a lot more, because I'm really interested in how to add the hormones into what I do, and I really loved speaking with you, Sally.
It's been my pleasure too. So thank
Yeah,
you very much.
yeah, and it was a big. Now we made it through the technical stuff, so that's a big win for today.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Sally,
Thank
and
you.
speak to you, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Have a lovely day.
And you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.